You're also 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And when you wake up on your 11th birthday, you expect to feel 11, but you don't. You open your eyes and everything's just like yesterday, only it's today. And you don't feel 11 at all. You feel like you're still 10, and you are, underneath the year that makes you 11. Because the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, or like the rings inside a tree trunk, or like my little wooden dolls that fit one inside the other, each year inside the next one. That's how being 11 years old is. Today, we'll be exploring growth and crossing thresholds. Come, let us worship, transform, and grow together.
This morning's reading is a continuation of the poem that Reverend Theresa shared earlier. Automatic. Everything I've been holding in since this morning when Mrs. Price put the sweater on my desk that's not even mine and smells like cottage cheese, it finally lets go. And all of a sudden, I'm crying in front of everybody. I wish I was invisible, but I'm not. I'm 11. And it's my birthday today, and I'm crying like I'm 3 in front of everybody. I put my head down on the desk and bury my face in my stupid clown sweater arms. My face is all hot and spit coming out of my mouth because I can't stop the little animal noises from coming out of me until there aren't any more tears left in my eyes. And it's just my body shaking, like when you have the hiccups. And my whole head hurts, like when you drink milk too fast. But the worst part is right before the lunch bell rings, that Phyllis says she remembers the red sweater is hers. And I take it off right away and I give it to her. Only Mrs. Price pretends everything's okay. Today I'm 11. There's a cake Mama's making for tonight, and when Papa comes home from work, we'll eat it. Yay, cake. There'll be candles and presents, and everybody will sing, "Happy birthday to you, Rachel." Only it's too late. I'm 11 today. I'm 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But I wish I was 102. I wish I was anything but 11, because I want today to be far away already. Far away, like a runaway balloon. So tiny, you have to close your eyes and squint to see it.
I'm going to pray in a moment. You don't have to. You can follow your breath in and out of your body. You can rest, or you can wait a moment, and then we'll begin. Our friend, we thank you for this day. We thank you for these people assembled, each of them coming with their own story and their own life experience. We thank you for the joys that have bubbled up among us. We thank you for the sorrows that come out from within this group. We pray for each. We pray for the United States of America today, that you'd help us show courage and dedication in this time that calls to us to do more and be more, and to show people how to love one another. For these things we give thanks and say amen. When she was 11 years old, Clara Ma's curiosity changed her life. We're used to thinking of children as curious, It turns out that the difference between children's and adults' curiosity comes down to one thing. Children allow themselves to be curious about many things, but sometimes adults find it important to become specialists. Today, we've honored transitions for students in our religious education program. We expect them to have opportunities in the program to be curious and to follow their curiosity. What can we learn from that expectation? Not too long ago, there was a lot of media coverage of a Mars rover named Curiosity. Clara Ma entered an essay contest to name that rover. Here's what she wrote. Curiosity is an everlasting flame that burns in everyone's mind. It makes me get out of bed in the morning and wonder what surprises life will throw at me that day. Curiosity is such a powerful force. Without it, we wouldn't be who we are today. When I was younger, I wondered, why is the sky blue? Why do stars twinkle? And why am I me? And I still do. I had so many questions, and America is the place where I want to find my answers. Curiosity is the passion that drives us through our everyday lives. We have become explorers and scientists with our need to ask questions and to wonder. Sure, there are many risks and dangers, but despite that, we still continue to wonder and dream and create and hope. We have discovered so much about the world, but still so little. We will never know everything there is to know. But with our burning curiosity, we have learned so much. So then Clara Ma got to name the rover, and she named it Curiosity. For Unitarian Universalists, curiosity is the companion for our shared precept that revelation is not sealed. In fact, it's possible that there can be no faithful practice of Unitarian Universalism without being curious. Reverend Pam Romanchuk put it this way. Liberal religion is defined by being in relationship with society in the present moment. It means that we believe that there are deep human truths that guide our actions, but that those deep truths will be revealed differently in each succeeding generation. In old-time language, we believe that revelation is not sealed. And the call of our faith is to look at what is happening in the world around us and find a way to live authentic and engaged lives in the midst of that reality. In other words, if the story isn't over yet, then we must stay tuned. We must be curious. We must let ourselves be curious about joy. Where will it appear? Are we instruments of joy? The answer is yes. You are an instrument of joy. Joy is complex because we often confuse it with happiness or glee. Joy is instead a connection to well-being, our own, that of others. Because it's a connection, it's hard for us to discover joy without being connected to something outside ourselves. Even in the case of finding joy in nature, it is a connection outside of the ego. Consider the words of William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Does that remind you of your own daffodil feelings? Do you have daffodil feelings? Okay, I thought so. The poem describes himself as wandering, lonely, but then discovering a crowd of daffodils. The outcome of curiosity for joy is an unexpected gift. Part of the skill we must develop then is being alert for unexpected gifts. Sometimes they are tiny, sometimes they are significant. A ladybug, a Mars rover, a kind word, a thoughtful gift, a text that says, "Hey, I'm just thinking about you and I hope you're doing okay." Connection to well-being. If you decide that curiosity is worth your while, so you don't have to be an expert in just one thing, but can continue to embrace the world, justice awaits. In fact, everything good that we want for the world, including changing polarized communities into peaceful communities, starts with curiosity. Judgment is a form of self-defense, a way of guaranteeing that one's opinion or worldview is not about to be changed. When curiosity replaces judgment as a thought process, it invites consideration of another's opinion and worldview. Curiosity and judgment cannot function simultaneously in the mind. Imagine the person who has an us and them mentality. Never us, of course. Imagine them having an us and them mentality. A person that has a clear distinction between the haves and the have-nots. Anytime we think things like, "I would never do that," or "that would never happen to me," then we are starting to raise our us versus them mentality. This is judgment. We know that judgment separates us. We know that we need to have space for the opinions of others, but some things don't come down to opinions. Whether or not all people are valuable, whether or not all people possess human rights, yet continuously we see these things under attack. Recently, a friend of mine wondered aloud whether people interested in taking away human dignity are better at strategizing than we are. One perspective could be the short answer of yes. But I don't think that's all there is to it. In fact, Unitarian Universalists do have a long game for joy, for justice, and for decency. It's called faith formation. In this community, you have great examples of what it means to nurture learning for every age and every stage of life. When we talk about faith formation, we're talking about everybody. This means that we can talk about the transitions of young students in classes, but we also mean people who are graduating from college, retiring, even folks leaving Moscow. In other words, growth and transition can be for anyone. We can also specify that we don't mean faith in a person or a personal God, but we do mean faith in something bigger than ourselves, including a developed sense and practice of ethics, a relationship of well-being to the community. Specifically, we can identify faith formation as facilitating for learners the access and co-creation of the knowledge, attitudes, and skills that abet self-expression and transformation. Do you want some of that? Yeah. It's a lifelong process with many facets. Take joy in the fact that your community is a place for learning. We've been looking at it today from the perspective of the large us, the group. But deciding to continue to use your curiosity, deciding to continue to form your inner life, is also an individual choice. Do you remember these words from Rumi? Come, take a pickaxe and break open your stony heart. The heart's matrix is glutted with rubies. Springs of laughter are buried in your chest. In fact, Reverend Sean Neil Barron encourages us. Inward movement allows members to experience the transformative power of faith grounded in our UU history, enlivened by our living tradition, and held in the trusting hands of religious communities. Faith formation happens most deeply in relationships of mentorship and accompaniment, where we can reframe the everyday realities of our lives within UU values and traditions. And all of that is really the point. How you live your Unitarian Universalism is what really matters. Coming here to get the tools that make that possible during the week is all the better for us, both individually and as a collective. It is absolutely true that curiosity is not just for children, but what you do with your curiosity will make all the difference. You have examples of turning curiosity into transformation, and you have wide open possibilities. What will happen next? What will happen next? We must all stay curious and committed. Not committed to a particular outcome as though there's a winner and a loser, but rather curious about things like the revelation that's still coming, the rest of the story. We must remain curious about things like joy, justice, and decency. We must use our curiosity for the purpose of faith formation, both in community and as individuals. We have an answer for the difficulties of our time. This is part of our answer. Let's close with words from Nita Penfold. She says, no matter what they tell you, let it be about joy. Let it be about the sacred, self-surviving, no, thriving, shining its way to the knowledge within. Let it be about blooming, the unfolding of the universe through you, because the story of you begins 15 billion years ago with that first flash of being. Let it be so. Let us be the ones who make it so.